Hello, and welcome to another Monday's live stream. I'm Bex from Social Media Executive, and I'm here every Monday at 12:30 sharing lots of tips and advice on social media. And I've got a very special guest today. I've got Sue France from Creating Connecting in Cheshire, and she's going to be sharing some fantastic tips and hints on how to create a successful and engaged Facebook group. So if you're watching this live, please do say hello. Put your name in the chat, introduce what type of business you do. Ask us any questions as well. We'd love to hear. So yeah, please, this is an interactive live stream. Please do say hello. So go on then, Sue. Welcome. Tell us a bit about who you are.
Hi, well, as you said, I'm Sue France, and this is Creative Connecting in Cheshire. I started my group to support the ladies who came to my events. I've been doing networking events for 11 years. And the idea of starting my group quite a long time ago was just so that they had somewhere, a safe space where they could come and share ideas, and I could help them connect, because my group is all about connecting people. That's the whole purpose of it. So that's how I started my group. But then, of course, in lockdown, everything changed. It was no longer just for the people in my group. And I've got a video which you're going to show, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, we've got a brilliant, we've got an old technical today, and I'm actually going to show a video that we've tested. But yeah, for those of you that don't know about Sue's group, I mean, it is a fantastic group. It's not, you've not created it from a Facebook page, have you?
No, I haven't got a Facebook page.
You haven't got a Facebook page, but it's a really successful one, and she's also monetized it as well, which Sue's going to be sharing in a minute. So just to say, hello, hi Amanda, thank you for saying hello. So Amanda's watching from Redwood Copy. She's a great blog writer. Anyone else watching, please do say hello and introduce yourselves. So what we'll do, I'm going to share the video, Sue, because I think it's a really nice way of introducing your group, isn't it?
I think it's a good way of explaining everything.
Yeah, so let's press play. Oh, I'm pressing play on the wrong screen. It does help if you press play on the right one.
My page on Facebook is called Creative Connecting in Cheshire. It was created to help the women that came to my events, and suddenly it had to have a bigger purpose. I had to keep everyone occupied and entertained in lockdown. I had to find a way of still connecting everybody, so I had to rethink the whole thing. From coming on occasionally, I had to come on every day, and I had to have lives and promotions and offers, so it was a big learning curve. First event that I had due on lockdown was on March the 19th, and actual lockdown began on March the 23rd, but we only found out a few days before. So I suddenly had to change that event from a live event to a virtual event. So within 3 days, all the speakers who were going to appear on my event, and even the stall holders who were going to be selling things, had a quick lesson in StreamYard and were able to come on, and we did the event for the same length of time, featuring the same people on the same day. The members of my group have been amazing. They've all risen to the challenge. Many of them, like me, were hopeless at technical things. Everybody's had to master Zooms, all the different technologies, podcasts. Activity increased 100-fold, and the membership increased from about 400 or 500 to just under 1,000. And another thing that's been wonderful is meeting all the new people on the group. And we've got people to visit all over the place. I want to congratulate everyone who stuck with me at Creative Connecting in Cheshire.
Any of us who are mothers will know that you have to do an awful lot more than be a media sensation to impress the children.
Their own free signed copy of Fred the 5-Season Dragon. You can visit my website.
Drumroll, please.
Come through it. We've got a new future to look forward to. Meeting and connecting and collaborating again. It's going to be brilliant.
Wow, that was really good.
Thank you.
Really Really good video. Really, just a really great way of introducing what you've achieved these last 2 years.
Well, that was someone who joined my group did that for me. So,
Oh, was it? Oh, fabulous.
so that was why it was worth having a group.
Yeah.
You get amazing people joining your groups who can help in all sorts of ways. That was her idea. So fantastic.
So how did you, because originally you had your group, didn't you? Because you were doing physical networking events and then COVID hit. So how were you using the group before sort of we went into lockdown?
I was keeping it small. I was keeping it, I think it was about 149 people, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but when it goes to 250, it stops showing you who's looking. Is that right? It used to be like that. It would say, it used to say seen by, and you could actually see everyone that was watching your posts. Whereas
Okay.
I don't know if it's like that now. So I always used to keep it to 249. So once it went to 250, you could see if somebody liked it, but you couldn't see who was watching.
Okay.
Right. That seems so long ago now.
I know, yeah. So that was
out.
right.
Anyway, from lockdown, I just thought, well, more people need the support and the connecting. So I just let it grow, and it grew to over 1,000.
Yeah, and it's just such a lovely group as well, because you can have a number, and for those that don't know the difference between a Facebook group and a Facebook page, basically a page is your sort of website. It's a bit like a website. It's your page. You put what you control what goes onto it, and people can't post onto your page. They can post on your page in the community section, but it's up to the person that runs that page whether that information is shared. Whereas in a group, it's like a forum, isn't it? So everyone can post. But there are so many groups out there that have got thousands of followers, but no engagement. And the beauty about your group, Sue, is that you've got over 1,000 members, but it's got loads of engagement. So how do you manage that? How do you manage that?
It's hard work because I keep bringing people in. For instance, I did a challenge a few weeks ago where I was actually connecting people with people that I thought they should connect with. So I'm not just posting on the group. I'm working really hard. When someone joins, I'm trying to work out who they should gel with and who they should mix with. So I think that's why I'm always putting people's names in. So there might be somebody that has just lurked about for a while and not commented. But then when I'm trying to connect them with someone, I think, oh, I remember that person. And I'll bring them up again. They might not have been on for ages. And by tagging them in, they'll suddenly appear or they'll suddenly say something. And then they're back in the fold again.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty, isn't it? Because you're actually creating, I think a lot of people go into and create Facebook groups with their needs in mind, whereas with yours, you all are about connecting and helping everybody in the group and tagging those people in. And I know we've had conversations before where we'll talk, and I might mention a few people in the group that I know, and you'll go, oh, well, that's interesting because they've never engaged in the group. So you really do have a vested interest in everybody, don't you? And making sure they're all having a really good experience in the group and try and include everybody.
Yes, it's quite interesting. There was so many people joined in the last 2 years that none of us had ever met. So because they hadn't been to my events before. So I didn't know when COVID was over whether those people would ever come to anything. And there was one particular lady who posted every week, I have Selling Saturday. It's the only day where I allow people to promote their businesses in a blatant way.
Yeah.
And she never missed. And she posted quite a big post every Saturday. And I thought, I've never met this person. And the minute I had an event, she started coming, and she's been to everyone since. And then that is so gratifying, because then you think, oh, that person wasn't just using it as a sales vehicle. they actually wanted to connect with the people in the group, and things like that are so rewarding.
Yeah, and I think that's I think, you know, you've hit the nail on the head, haven't you? People use social media for selling, and that's all they do. And that sort of strategy doesn't work anymore. It is really about building that community, because at the end of the day, it's building that trust, isn't it, with people, getting to know people, what they're like, what they enjoy, what their values are. And then, you know, that naturally, once you've got that trust, that naturally then potentially brings on some sales, doesn't it?
Yeah, people don't realise that. The people that just want to sell things and they don't comment on other people's posts and they don't like things and they don't join in, they don't realise there's not much point in them being in the group. They're not going to grow their sales by just selling.
No. And it is, and it's about, and it's really nice. I've introduced quite a lot of people to your group, because effective and engaged groups like yours are quite rare. They are quite rare on Facebook. You know, and the thing is we learn so much. You post a lot of information, don't you? You train, you share tips and advice, you get other people, encourage other people to share tips and advice for, you know, running businesses or networking tips and things like that. So how do you come up with your content plan then, Sue, for the group?
Well, I can see you've got your content plan.
Oh, yes.
Mine's in the kitchen. Mine's on the kitchen door, so I do look every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do use the PR ideas and the planning ideas, but I'm more an instinct person, and I prefer to think of something every day. I don't even plan it the night before. I don't schedule posts.
Oh, do you not? No.
I used to occasionally during lockdown.
Yeah.
But now I have a little routine in the morning. I don't even post early. I usually go and have a bath, and I watch the news and then have a bath. And while I'm lying there, I think about what I'm going to post about.
Okay.
So
that's your planning time.
So it's relevant to that day. And what's quite funny is I don't go and look at other groups, but then when I do, often we're thinking about the same thing.
Yeah. And I think that's what works really well on social media, is that a lot of it is about current affairs, isn't it? Things that's topical, things that's happening in the media, and tapping into those sorts of ideas and themes. And that's what social media loves as well, because that's what people are thinking about. That's what people have been aware of because of what's happening in the news and things. So they feel that they're part of that discussion and they can contribute, don't they?
Yeah. I used to be a fashion designer, and you'd sit in your own little bubble, and it was children's wear. And I would design the things for the next season in advance. I'd go and look at fabrics. So we'd all have this, knew what colours were going to be in fashion the next season. But we'd sit there in our own design studios and we'd design what we thought was the natural progression and what would come next. Okay. And then when you got out there, you'd see that most people had done the same, very similar. So when you presented your designs, you'd see, say if it was padded shoulders that year or something, everyone would be doing it. Everything progresses. And I noticed this morning there was a lot of posts about finding your tribe on various groups, and don't worry about the people that you don't connect with. Concentrate on the people you do connect with. And I've been thinking about that today. So I do think if you're a member of groups, apart from the news and what's going on, everything progresses in a similar pattern too.
Yeah, and providing they're well managed. And I think that's the beauty as well about your group, Sue, is you have specific rules that you put in, don't you? Do you want to talk about some of those rules that you've got in the group?
Well, I don't want people to have discussions, or I don't want people to talk about politics or anything like that. I want to keep away from all that. Are those the kind of rules you mean?
So, you know, when you create a group, so when anyone creates a group, you have the opportunity to create different rules. So, for example, in your group, you're not allowed to sell unless it's a Saturday under the thread. Whereas some Facebook groups don't have any rules in place. And you have to, when you first create a group, you probably I don't know if you remember, Sue, but when you create your group, you type in the different rules that you put into your group, being polite and things like that. Some groups say no sharing of links, that sort of thing, no selling or no mention of X, Y, Z. And I always think those groups that have the strictest rules are always a much more successful group, because they are managing their members, aren't they?
Yes. My rules aren't so strict, but I agree with you. And for instance, on the selling Saturdays, people can post under a thread, or they can do separate posts. And I noticed one lady put only post under the thread, and you're only allowed to post one promotion. And I thought, oh, I admire that. Maybe I'll change to that.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to change once you've begun. So it is important to set the rules at the beginning, because if I suddenly change the rules to say only post in the thread, there's all the people who've been used to posting separately that might not see it, and they'll keep putting things on. So you've brought up one of the most important points. When you start a group, think really carefully about your rules. It's a good point.
Yeah, it is. It's so important, because I know a few people tend to join groups where there's no rules and go, brilliant, we've joined. Yeah, they've got no rules, and they just sell. And if you look at those groups, they've got thousands of members, particularly local community groups.
And only about 2 people liking the things.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody sees it. Yeah. So it's really important. And you were talking about scheduling as well. I think, for you just, that's your sort of main source of social media, isn't it? Through your group. But for those people that are a little bit more short of time, then you can schedule into groups and still create engaging content, but that's going out at a time then when you might be able to be free to respond and engage. Because I notice, Sue, you're brilliant at responding and engaging with everybody, all the comments.
Thank you. I actually like the groups that are very organised, that have motivational Mondays and whatever. I like those because you know where you are.
Yeah.
And groups where on a certain day you can put your Instagram post. I'm a member of groups like that. It's just I'm not that sort of person. So another tip, when you join a few different groups of different types, and get used to the ones where the posts are very scheduled, and you can post every day about a certain thing. I think that's good. But also join more random ones like mine for a bit of fun.
Yeah, and do you know what? I love, because I have a few that I've joined that are structured, but I all do tend to get a bit bored of the, Tuesday, it's, I don't know, selling Tuesday or whatever, and then it's like, and then they might have on a Thursday, it's the same, stick to the same themes, and you do get used to it, but sometimes it gets a bit too predictable, whereas yours is just, it's just very fluid, isn't it?
Yeah, but it is good to know, like if I know someone's got a day once a week where you can post your Instagram, I'll go on the group and post that day. Yeah. So things like that are very worthwhile. Yeah. Thank you, Amanda. Amanda says she likes the sound of my group.
She does, yeah. Yes, you definitely should join Sue's group. So tell us, because you've actually just monetized your group now as well, haven't you?
Yeah, that was a scary thing. Well, because I put so much work into it and it's getting so big, people suggested that I charge people to join the group. And I thought, will they actually pay to join? And then I thought, maybe a one-off fee. So I charge £10, but that's it. So it's not too much. And then I thought, well, I've got to give them some value if they're paying. So when people, and I only started it about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it is working.
Yeah.
People are paying to join the group. But once they've paid, I have to make extra sure that they get some value. So I'm giving them an opportunity. They can, after they've paid, they can do a live or a video, and then I try and connect them with someone. So if nothing else, they've had a good opportunity to promote themselves, but it is different. It is different charging, feels
Yeah.
different.
So that is, just to be clear, it's not £10 a month, is it? It's
No,
just
£10.
£10 one, which is just amazing
I
value.
was going to say for life, but I'm 73, so I don't. As long as I'm around.
Yeah, for as long as you're running the group, it's £10. Yeah.
Yeah. What I wanted to say, just as a tip, some groups, some free groups, are a prelude to paying groups, aren't they?
Yes.
So
Like, yeah,
a
like a
lot of people,
customer
yes.
journey. Yeah.
So a lot of people have a free group with lots of content, and if you like that free group, you can then join their membership group. So that's not what mine's about. Mine's just an extension of a free group with a little charge.
Yeah. And also that's all you know, that's your free group. But it's also a great way of, because let's face it, you are a networking expert, aren't you? You run a whole variety of networking events throughout the year, bringing businesses together to help each other. So actually your Facebook group is perfectly aligned with what your values are and with what your business is.
Yes, yeah. Well, my main thing that I do is my literary lunch. I hold a literary lunch once a year. So there's a lot of authors on the group. There's a lot of people that want to write books, a lot of people connected with books. Then I love fashion because that's my background. So there's a lot of boutiques on the group, and then everything in between. Yes. So there's quite a variety of things going on.
But I think that helps, doesn't it? It's about creating a group that you're passionate about, isn't it? It's about what you love. And then that passion comes through. And what's Amanda said? Oh, Amanda, she says she likes the sound of that literary lunch too. She's going to be signing up for everything soon.
I've even got a little literary lunch at Petherton Castle in April.
Oh,
one. So yeah,
I saw that, the image of the castle. That looked amazing. What a fantastic venue.
That's going to be good. Going back to what you said about groups, niche groups are good. I'm thinking of my friend Emma Guy and her menopause group.
Oh yes.
I'm thinking if when you start a group, if it's for a particular purpose, so mine is networking and connecting, but like Emma's group, concentrating on one thing, she's also trying to help people, and she's got a book about the menopause. I think that's a great thing if you've got a niche to have a group to help people within that niche.
Yeah, I think that's ideal. And you know, because people will connect with that, won't they? They connect with that if they're going through the menopause. They're going to connect and go, oh, actually, this could help. It's like I have a private group. So for those that don't know much about Facebook groups, you can have an unlisted group, which is which you'd never find on Facebook. You can have a private group, so I have a private group for all my social media training clients, so they can join for free. If they've been on my training, then if they've got any questions after the training, they can ask in that group. People can join if they want to for a fee, as a one-off fee like yours, or you know, they get it free if they come on any of my training. Or then you have a public group, don't you, that anyone can join. So for ours, we've both got private groups, haven't we, Sue?
Yeah.
So we have to accept people into that group once they request to join. Whereas public groups, anyone can join, and it is a bit of a free for all.
Yeah. When anyone asks to go in my group, I actually have a look. I actually go onto their Facebook. I'm really careful.
Yeah.
I'm really careful about who joins the group because you just don't know, do you? So I always like to see if they've got friends in the group and why they want to join the group.
Yeah. And also it's creating that safe space in the group as well for people, isn't it? Because some people are quite nervous about networking, aren't they? And particularly because in your group you can't join as a business. So in the settings you've made it that so that only people can join your group.
That's right. There's a couple of businesses on there because they joined before I realised I didn't want businesses to join.
Yeah.
Because if a page or business joins, you don't actually. It means a couple of people can Go on. I'm right.
That's right. Yeah. So basically, when you set up a Facebook group, the default is that a business page can join or an individual can join, and you can choose. But if a business page joins and you've got like 5 people who are admin of that business page, it could be 1 in 5 people that are actually posting in your group and you don't actually know who it is.
No, because mine is building relationships. So you don't want to be building. You want to know who you're talking to, don't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, exactly. And mine's the same. I think it works well. Some groups, businesses can join, but it purely depends on the objective of your Facebook group, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So how often do you post then? So in your group?
Again, they tell you to post every day, which I think you should, because that must keep the engagement going. But you have to have something worthwhile to say. There was one day last week I didn't post because I couldn't think of anything that I really wanted to say. And luckily, a few people had posted things themselves, so it still kept the group going.
Yeah.
If you're going to start a Facebook group, you really have to be committed and think about the fact that you have to post regularly.
Yeah.
Some days I post a few, some days I don't post very much. Some days, if more things are happening, I could post 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So,
So just, and it's about, isn't it? It's about quality rather than quantity. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
So to finish off then, Sue, have you got any other sort of tips as we sort of finish today's live stream?
Well, I think if you're thinking about starting a group, you should think very, very carefully. And unless you're totally committed, don't do it. Because I know lots of people tell you to join a group, to start a group.
Yeah.
Just think, have you got the time to run it properly? And also, if you join a group, I know most people know this, but does everyone realize to go into the settings and change it to all notifications from highlights only?
Oh yes, otherwise you're inundated, aren't you?
No. When people join a group, sometimes they say, "Oh, I haven't seen the post," but they haven't been in and changed the settings to all notifications. So and when you've got a group, when you start a group, tell people to tell the people in their group to do that as well.
Yes, because otherwise people won't see it, will they? No, that's a really good tip. So for those of you then that would like to join Sue's group, we've put the link in the chat. It's a bargain at £10. I would highly recommend it. I've made some really nice friends in there. It's been a really good group. And if you have got a Facebook page, you can create a group from your Facebook page as well. So it can all connect together. So if you've actually got lots of followers on your Facebook page as well, you can then direct them into a group and add a little bit more value and things like that. And if you're not very good on Facebook as well, I do have a Facebook course coming up as well. I'll put the link in the chat. Basically, we're doing an hour a day on Zoom, and it starts on the 15th of March. So we do an hour a day on Zoom. And there's also a 40% grant available through Chester University if you live or work in Cheshire as well. So I'm quite excited about that because we don't normally have grants available on my training. So it's really good. So is there any sort of closing remarks then that you want to make, Sue, with all these tips that you've shared with us today, which have been really useful?
Can I tell people about my Joy of Networking event?
Oh, yes, of course. And Sue's got a brilliant event coming up. Yes, tell us about that one, definitely.
Well, I noticed during lockdown that lots of people were getting very nervous about mixing again and going to events. And also there's a lot of new people in my group who've never actually been to events before. People that started businesses in lockdown. And people know they have to go to networking events to grow their businesses, but people don't like them. There's a stigma attached. So I've got a workshop. It's actually at Kelsall Equestrian Centre on the 22nd of March, because I thought I would have it at an interesting place. So
Is it like as in horses? Equestrian
there's
centre.
actually some horse trials going on that day, and they've got an indoor arena and an outdoor one. So
wow.
people that come on my workshop at lunchtime, we can go and watch a bit of activity as well. But the reason I did it there, even if people, I always choose interesting places. So if people go to a networking event, even if they're not enjoying it so much, they're going somewhere nice.
Yes.
But
And so there's
saying
something
that,
to distract them as well, to watch,
yeah,
so they don't feel too
yeah,
awkward.
yeah.
Yeah.
But this joy of networking, the idea is, if you've never been networking before, or if you're scared of it, or if you think you're going to hate it, if you've had bad experiences, it's a one-day workshop. I've only got 2 more places on it, and I'd love to fill those 2 places. And the people that have booked on it already, I haven't met any of them. So we're all in the same boat.
Oh, that's really nice. And we can guarantee that Sue will look after you as well.
Yes,
Because
yes.
that's what you're really good at. Oh, well, thank you so much, Sue. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel, where we do share lots of tips and advice on social media every week. And I'd just like to say a huge thank you, Sue. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you very much for sharing your tips. And hopefully, everyone, please do join Sue's group. It definitely is worth doing.
Thank you. I've enjoyed being interviewed by you.
Thanks. Right, we'll see you all later. Bye.
Bye.